Australia versus New Zealand. Ever wondered which is better? The land of scorching sunshine and cuddly koalas, or the dramatic landscapes of the Lord of the Rings? Today, we're diving deep into a lighthearted comparison of two fascinating countries, Australia and New Zealand. From the friendly rivalry stirred by quirky incidents to their cultural, economic, and geographical marvels, which of these remote neighbors wins in a head-to-head matchup? Join us as we explore everything from the origins of their indigenous peoples to their current status on the global stage, including landscapes, lifestyles, and local delicacies. Long, long ago, people first arrived in Australia by boat. These original Australians, called Aboriginal people, lived by hunting and gathering food. Over many years, Australia's weather changed a lot, even separating a big island, Tasmania, from the mainland. Meanwhile, New Zealand remained unpopulated until much later. Fast forward to around 1,300 years ago. The Maori, voyaging by canoe, became the first settlers of New Zealand. Europeans arrived much later. Dutch explorers chartered both Australia, initially calling it New Holland, and New Zealand in the early 17th century. While the Dutch didn't establish permanent settlements, the stage was set for further European exploration. Indonesian moccasins arrived in Australia around 1720, followed by the pivotal voyage of Captain James Cook in 1769. Cook claimed New Zealand and Eastern Australia for Britain, forever shaping their destinies. Following the Dutch, French explorers also eyed colonization but needed to commit. The British, however, arrived in 1788 to establish the colony of New South Wales at Sydney Cove, now celebrated as Australia Day on January 26th. Many early settlers were convicts sent for minor offenses. Over the next century, Britain established colonies across the continent. Initially, the British attempted peaceful coexistence with indigenous Australians, similar to their approach in North America. However, introduced diseases like smallpox and measles devastated the Aboriginal population, potentially reducing it by 70%. Later settlers often disregarded land rights, leading to conflict in the early 1800s. Across the sea, New Zealand's colonization unfolded differently. Missionaries arrived in 1815, establishing settlements like Kerikeri and Bluff. Initially, the Maori and British coexisted peacefully. However, broken treaties sparked the New Zealand Wars. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Maori fiercely resisted for decades, ultimately losing land and traditional ways of life. Farming became the backbone of both economies, but Australian land proved less fertile than expected. Mining surged with gold rushes in both countries during the 1850s and 60s. Meanwhile, vast distances fostered a growing sense of independence in Australia and New Zealand. Britain granted self-government to the colonies, but by the 1880s, Australia saw a strong nationalist movement emerge, while New Zealand surprisingly witnessed a burgeoning feminist movement. In a historic move, New Zealand granted women the right to vote in 1893, becoming the world's first nation. Australia followed suit 9 years later, just after gaining independence. Offered a chance to join Australia, New Zealand opted for self-governance and became a dominion in 1907, establishing a similar path to independence. Both nations remained sparsely populated until the 20th century, when their populations began to grow significantly. Let's talk politics. Australia and New Zealand share a parliamentary system where elected representatives make laws. They're also representative democracies, meaning citizens choose their leaders. While a queen is the official head of state in both countries, a constitutional monarchy, their day-to-day governance is independent. Interestingly, Australia is a federation like the United States. It's a single country comprising several states, each with some self-government. On the other hand, New Zealand is a unitary state with a central government. Back then, New Zealand had the chance to join Australia's federation, but they decided to go their own way. Australia is the giant here, clocking in at 29 times bigger than New Zealand. While New Zealand stretches roughly 269,000 square kilometers, Australia boasts a whopping 7.7 million square kilometers. Reflecting its size, Australia has a much larger population, around 21 million people compared to New Zealand's 5 million. Both countries, however, enjoy a high quality of life. They have similar median ages, around 37 years old, and impressive life expectancies, over 81 years. Both countries consistently rank among the world's safest countries with very low violent crime rates. Speaking of language, the British legacy lives on in both countries, with English as the main language for most residents. While both have distinct accents that might sound similar to outsiders, there are subtle differences. One clue is in the vowels. Australians tend to stretch them out a bit more, like saying C instead of Sid for C. In contrast, Kiwis, New Zealanders, keep their vowels shorter, pronouncing bed closer to bid or six closer to sucks. Listen closely and you'll pick up on these unique speech patterns. Regarding climate, New Zealand leans cooler and wetter year-round, perfect for those who love outdoor activities without getting scorched. Australia offers sunshine and warmth, with distinct seasons and the potential for scorching summers in the north. Landscape paints a different picture, too. New Zealand boasts dramatic mountains, glaciers, beautiful lakes, and verdant forests, a dream for adventurers and nature lovers. Plus, it offers easy access to the idyllic Pacific Islands. Australia counters with stunning beaches, vast deserts teeming with unique life, vibrant coral reefs, and diverse rainforests. Take advantage of the iconic outback, a sparsely populated region with landscapes ranging from savannas to monsoons. For cityscapes, both coastlines boast vibrant cities and charming towns nestled amidst various climates. Ultimately, choosing between these two beautiful countries depends on whether you crave cooler adventures or sunshine-filled explorations. Australia boasts a diverse landscape, from the iconic sandstone monolith Uluru, a sacred site for Aboriginal Australians, to vast deserts and the Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral reef system. New Zealand's dramatic mountains, sculpted by glaciers and volcanic activity, rise majestically. The Southern Alps, including Aoraki, Mount Cook, New Zealand's tallest peak, are a haven for adventure seekers and nature lovers. New Zealand's stunning scenery has become a backdrop for epic movies. Director Peter Jackson, a native New Zealander, showcased the country's beauty in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies, putting it firmly on the map for global audiences. New Zealand's location on the Ring of Fire, a zone of frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, has shaped its dramatic landscape. Australia, on the other hand, enjoys a more stable geological environment, free from active volcanoes. Australia's stable tectonic plate means minimal earthquake risk, but cyclones can pose a threat. New Zealand, located on the Ring of Fire, experiences frequent tremors and occasional volcanic eruptions. Both countries face floods and wildfires, with Australia experiencing more frequent and severe outbreaks. New Zealand's island chain boasts geothermal wonders like Rotorua and Milford Sound's breathtaking fjords. In contrast, Australia, a continent, offers iconic coastal destinations like the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Whitsunday Islands. Australia, the world's oldest and flattest continent, boasts a vast interior with the Great Barrier Reef along its eastern coast. New Zealand, a chain of islands, is home to dramatic mountains like the Southern Alps. Most of its population lives on the North and South Islands. While Australia has a larger number of islands, over 8,000, New Zealand sits further south, closer to Antarctica. Vast oceans border both countries, Australia by the Indian and Pacific, and New Zealand by the Pacific. Australia's vibrant culture blends Western traditions with the rich heritage of Aboriginal Australians. The atmosphere leans towards fun, relaxation, and a love of socializing. New Zealand, meanwhile, boasts a deep respect for its indigenous Maori people. Their language is co-official with English. Maori influences are woven into daily life, from greetings to the powerful haka pre-game ritual performed by national sports teams. While both countries share a British colonial past and English as their primary language, their unique journeys have shaped distinct cultural identities. Australia is working to give greater recognition to its Aboriginal heritage, a complex and ancient culture with diverse languages spoken across the vast continent. Australia's vast size means long travel distances between major cities. For example, driving from Perth to Brisbane is over 3,600 kilometers, further than Madrid to Moscow. On the other hand, New Zealand is much smaller, allowing you to experience diverse landscapes like mountains, beaches, and rainforests within a short drive. Both countries offer excellent public transportation options in their major cities, particularly Auckland in New Zealand. New Zealand boasts a compact yet varied landscape thanks to its location on a major fault line. Volcanic activity and earthquakes have sculpted dramatic mountains, fjords, lush forests, geothermal wonders, and stunning coastlines. No wonder it was a perfect backdrop for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Filming locations spanned over 150 spots across both the North and South Islands. While both countries boast a high quality of life, the cost of living varies. Generally, New Zealand is slightly more affordable. Here's a breakdown for a one-bedroom apartment. New Zealand costs $1,395 to $1,860, while Australia ranges from roughly $1,116 to $1,674. However, Australia boasts a higher GDP per capita of $51,812 versus $41,791 in New Zealand. Interestingly, New Zealand residents typically pay lower taxes. Australia's economy thrives on mining, energy, contributing 23% of total exports, manufacturing, and financial services. New Zealand focuses on agriculture, including sheep and dairy, making up 60% of exports, forestry, tourism, and food processing. Notably, New Zealand prioritizes education, spending a higher percentage of its GDP, 6.4%, than Australia, 5.3%. Both countries enjoy high internet speeds, with New Zealand generally having a slight edge. Both Australia and New Zealand boast strong job markets with low unemployment rates. New Zealand sits at an impressive 3.2%, with Australia at 5.5% in 2023. If you're looking for work opportunities abroad, these countries are attractive options, with programs in place to entice skilled workers and entrepreneurs. When it comes to industries, New Zealand offers opportunities in agriculture, particularly dairy and meat, forestry, and tourism. The tech sector is also showing promising growth. Conversely, Australia has a strong mining industry, think coal and iron ore, alongside established sectors like healthcare, technology, finance, and education. New Zealand's isolation for millions of years has led to the evolution of fascinating creatures not found elsewhere. The flightless kiwi bird with its long beak is a national icon. Other unique birds include the kea, tui, and yellow-eyed penguin. Marine life thrives too, with fur seals and dolphins inhabiting the coasts. Australia, on the other hand, boasts a diverse array of marsupials, koalas, kangaroos, wombats, and hundreds of smaller species. Reptiles like snakes and crocodiles are also called Australia home, alongside unique egg-laying mammals like the platypus and echidna. Bird life includes cockatoos, rosellas, and lorikeets, adding vibrant splashes of color to the landscape. Both countries offer incredible wildlife encounters for visitors. Australia boasts a unique menagerie of creatures, with most mammals, amphibians, and reptiles endemic to the continent, thanks to millions of years of isolation. The iconic dingo fence, one of the world's longest, is a testament to the importance of protecting sheep from these wild canines. While Australia may have some dangerous creatures like sharks and snakes, the risks are often overstated. A trip to Australia or New Zealand isn't complete without trying their iconic spreads, Vegemite and Marmite. Both are black, yeast-based pastes with a strong flavor that locals adore. For a milder introduction, spread a thin layer on buttered toast. Beyond breakfast, each country offers unique treats. Australia boasts Allen's candies like Sherbies and Fantails, while New Zealand is famous for pineapple lumps, chewy pineapple covered in chocolate, and Perky Nana, chocolate bars with chewy banana filling. Adventurous eaters in Australia can try kangaroo or emu meat, while New Zealand offers the Maori hangi, a traditional method of cooking food in an underground earth oven. Nightlife options differ between the two countries. Australia's larger cities like Melbourne and Sydney offer a vibrant scene with countless clubs, pubs, bars, and performance venues catering to various tastes. In Auckland, New Zealand, nightlife options lean towards unique experiences like night canyoning, enjoying city views from the Sky Tower, or exploring bustling night markets. Despite the occasional friendly rivalry, particularly in sports, Australia and New Zealand share a strong bond. Their geographical proximity on the edge of the globe fosters a sense of shared identity and experience. Both countries offer stunning scenery, unique cultures, and friendly people, making them truly special destinations. So which country comes out on top? Australia or New Zealand? Or what other country comparisons would you like to see? Share your thoughts in the comments below.